Okay, we're going to get started here in just a moment. Thank you to everyone who's joining. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. I'm really excited about today's session of life skills, and we're going to talk about discovering your passions and networking so that you can kind of help fuel your passion. And not to mention the exciting giveaway that we're doing. So for all of you who are attending live today, we will be giving away a 2018 NCAA Men's Basketball Final Four bench chair, which was donated by the DeBruce Foundation. So there it is. So we will announce the winner today, drawn randomly from the attendee list at the end of this session. So you're going to want to stay tuned for that. Okay, so let's get back to our content. First, we're going to share tips and tools to kind of help you determine your interest or your passion and how they apply to many different careers. And then secondly, once you figure out those interests, we're going to help you figure out how to pursue them. And so one of the best ways to achieve that dream job or find the opportunity that's best for you is networking. And so we've talked the past few days about money, and money is really a tool to help you pursue your dreams, but we're really going to dive into those next steps today and what you can do to help yourself. So I'd like to introduce our speakers, Lana Mueller from Coffee Lunch Coffee, and then Leanne Taylor-Knight and Alex Olson, who are both with us from the DeBruce Foundation. So Lana, we're going to start with you. If you just want to introduce yourself to everyone here and tell us a little bit about you.
Thanks, Kate. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you all for taking time to join us today. My name is Lana Mueller. My company is called Coffee Lunch Coffee. And what I do is I train people to build better, more meaningful professional relationships. I think that professional networking is one of the most important things that we can engage in, not only to help ourselves in business, but to make ourselves happier in life. And I think that you can use this wherever you find yourself, at whatever station in life, whatever level of education, whatever type of experience you've had, because I truly believe that building better, more meaningful relationships is the key to so many ways to achieve happiness. So I'm originally from the Kansas City area, and I've had the great privilege to travel all over the world to share my approach to professional networking, which is really just about building meaningful connections in a way that incorporates community and deepens our own sense of belonging. So I'm thrilled to be here and would be delighted to answer all of your questions today.
Thank you. We're so excited. And I'm going to go ahead and introduce Leanne and Alex, if you guys want to tell us about yourselves.
Hey, KU Jayhawks. I'm Leanne Taylor-Knight with the DeBruce Foundation. We're located here in Kansas City, but I did try to be on your campus today as I also have a degree from KU. So kudos to you on making this first step in your career journey and seeking a degree. At the DeBruce Foundation, we are committed to expanding career pathways. We really care about the intersection of where the things that you like to do and do well fit within the career marketplace. So Alex and I are super happy to be with you. He is one of our DeBruce Career Corps members, and we have high school and college age individuals and early careers who actually advise us on the work that we do and help us actually create some of the solutions that we make at the DeBruce Foundation to hopefully help you all. So Alex, take it away.
Hey guys, good afternoon everyone, and morning for some of you guys. My name is Alex Olson, and as Dr. Taylor-Knight said, I am a member of the DeBruce Career Corps. I've been a part of it for the last 2 years, and the first 2 years of the Career Corps has really been impacting the foundation. I currently am a senior at St. Louis University, go Billikens, but also Rock Shock, and I'm studying political science, minoring in economics and urban poverty studies. And I would just say that I'll get into it a little bit, but the foundation has been awesome for helping me decide what I want to do after. I'm a senior right now, and I've accepted a job through a tech startup through a fellowship called Orr Fellows, and I'll be working for a tech startup called Woven Teams next year.
Great. Thank you, guys. We're so happy to have you. So everyone joining in, we're going to use the Q&A feature of this webinar to answer questions at the end. So make sure you're tuning in later on and then pop those questions in the Q&A whenever they come up, and we'll field them a little bit later. So I want to begin talking with the DeBruce Foundation, and you guys have a great Agility's work profile. And as many students don't really understand, how to identify our strengths and then, how to use them once we have identified them. So if you guys would go ahead and talk about the Agilities Work Profiler and kind of how the DeBruce Foundation really wants to help students kind of identify how to use their strengths perfectly in a career.
Oh, thank you. That's such a lovely introduction, Kate. Yes, the Agile Work Profiler is a free assessment that only takes you about 10 minutes to take. We're actually going to put a link here in the chat so that you'll be able to go to a web page and take that after we're on today. But at the end of it, you will receive in ranked order 1 through 10 your agilities. And your agilities are used in every single job in the economy. And actually, having that information gives you some words that are used in job descriptions, as well as things that you can use on your resume. Now, Alex probably is the best storyteller of how having the agilities and knowing about those have helped him land not only an internship, but also his first job. So I'm going to let him share about that. But in the meantime, know that this assessment is available to you. And another giveaway will actually be associated with your taking the assessment, posting your agilities out on Instagram, following KU Life Skills, following the DeBruce Foundation, and then tagging 3 people. So take the opportunity to do that, really to learn about yourself and how you bring value into the career marketplace, but also to have an opportunity to win another giveaway. Alex?
Yeah. So, guys, the agilities and the AWP, the Agile Work Profiler, is such a really cool tool that everybody can use. I think some people on here might really have a clear path of what they want to do, and other people might not be sure. And I think that's within the career core. We see a lot of that. There's some people that are like, I'm going to be a doctor. And there's other people that are like, I have no clue what I'm going to do in a year or in 6 months or after I graduate high school. And the AWP gives you a lot of clarity. And what it doesn't do is it doesn't restrict you to a box, but it shows you, okay, I am good at judging and estimating, and this is how I could use it in the medical field. And so maybe we have some pre-med people on here that think, I am pre-med, I'm going to medical school, and I already know what I'm going to do. But how are you going to be able to use your different skills in different positions while you're, whether you're just, a resident, and what type of things you need to understand for a resident, what you need to understand if you become, chief of surgery or something. There's different skills that are used, even if you're in the same job field. And the AWP does a cool job with that. And us young people have helped to go over that, and we've helped to tweak it and say, that makes sense, that doesn't make sense. So you can be assured that it was high schoolers and it was college students and people who have just entered the job field that are looking at this awesome program that's free, and all it does is help you decide what you want to do. I was able to use it, and really just with the help of Leanne, just decide, what are my next steps after I'm in college. I had a couple opportunities I could have taught, and I got to talk about it with her, but also keep in mind what my top agilities were and understand that no matter what job field I was going into, I was still going to be able to use, okay, this is how I can use my top agility. So I would say that's the coolest part about the Agile Work Profiler, and how you can really tailor it to when you're in a job interview. My top agility is selling and communicating. So I can help make my employers known, this is what I bring to the table. And this is why I know that, because I took the Agile Work Profiler. So it's a really cool assessment. I hope you guys all enjoy it. And I'd love to hear what everybody's top agilities are.
Alex, you're a true success story. And I just took my AWP yesterday, and I still haven't seen my results yet, but I'm very excited to share them with both of you. And we've dropped the link to the Agile Work Profiler here. So if you are interested in doing that, feel free to head to that link later on today. And I definitely encourage you to check it out. So, another way to navigate careers or fine tune what you want to do is through networking and meeting professionals in different fields, talking to them about what they do, and just learning about all the different careers that you could potentially pursue. So, Alana, you have had great success with networking and confidently building all sorts of connections. And so, as college students, many of us feel like we don't really have that big network built up and we don't know where to start. So, can you just kind of give us some pointers on where to start and how to effectively make those new connections?
Great question, Kate. Absolutely. The first thing I want to mention is you all have more connections than you think you do, right? So we all know as we begin to sort of think through who do we know, we all know thousands of people. We know thousands of people. And so here are a couple of things to keep in mind. You have professors, you have coaches, you have teachers even from high school or coaches even from high school, other people who you interacted with perhaps through jobs, through internships. You have your parents, you have your parents' friends, you have your friends' parents. There are many people in your life that you can tap into. And in fact, I have to tell you, I too have participated in the Agile Work Profiler, and I would encourage you all for sure do this. This is an amazing free resource, and by understanding your own agilities, you have topics to discuss with these individuals that you come across. So again, whether it's a professor, a coach, some other individual in your life, I would encourage you to do that. Now, I do think that it's important, I think, to be intentional about this. So I'm going to recommend doing something very specific, and that is make some lists. And let me tell you what I mean by that. I mean something very specific. And so there are 4 lists that I encourage every networker, irrespective of age, of experience set, of industry, to consider. The first list is a list of people who you already know, people who are already in your relationship base. So this would be those coaches and professors and your parents, friends, et cetera, et cetera. People that you already know. Maybe you were involved in the community, a community organization that you were either on the board of or a part of a youth committee. Think about those individuals, even peers or childhood friends could be part of this list. It could be somebody you saw this morning at the gym. It could be your dear old Aunt Sally that you haven't seen in a million years due to COVID. Whatever it is, you come up with a list of people already in your relationship base and make a commitment to yourself to actually move forward and reach out to these individuals in a networking capacity, indicating that you simply want to learn about their career, about what they've done with their lives, and maybe ask some questions based on those agilities. So that would be list number 1. List number 2 is a little different. It's almost the opposite of the people you know. It's the people you don't know but would like to. Now, perhaps you heard somebody speak, maybe on a panel like this. Maybe you saw their name printed in the newspaper or you saw a news story about them. Maybe it's somebody that's been referred to you, but these are people who you don't know but would like to. And the great secret is that the people on list number 1 can often help you to connect with the people on list number 2. The third list is a lot like list number 2, but instead of individuals, these are firms or organizations that you want to get to know. So, for example, if you've already done your agilities, you know generally some of the industries that you would be interested in pursuing, you can look into some companies that might be part of that industry and write those companies down. And so those are the first 3 lists. And by the way, it doesn't have to be daunting. Again, I know you know thousands of people. Maybe pick 5, start with 5 people, and just keep that list going. As you do get a chance to meet with these individuals, you can keep adding to that list. The fourth list, by the way, is a little bit different. It's about your personal values. What's important to you? What are your non negotiables? What are you not willing to give up in your career journey as you do your career exploration? And as you think about that, again, these are items that you can talk with the people who you network with to learn more about. Now, the last thing I'll mention in terms of how do you get started, especially as a college student, is to make a list of questions. You know, they say there's this wonderful Einstein quotations that questions are the creative acts of intelligence. And the nice thing about questions is it gets people talking, right? When you ask somebody a question, they will generally respond to you. They may tell you to get lost, but they will respond to you. And so my recommendation is come up with a list of big open-ended questions. Tell me a little bit about your career journey. What are your key responsibilities? What do you love most about your job? What's changed for you during the time of COVID? These are big questions that you can ask other people to simply generate conversation and to build relationships.
That's incredible advice. And hearing you talk about questions, remember guys, today that we do have Q&A at the end. And so these are great people to tap into. These are great people to ask questions for. So feel free to engage with us that way. So you talk about creating these lists of questions, and that might make us a little bit more confident as we kind of approach these people and we have an understanding of what we're trying to get out of it, and understand where we're coming from when we approach different professionals in this network. So having confidence is key. And there's an amazing podcast from Adam Grant, which is How to Network for People Who Hate Networking. And it's such a great resource, and we'll link it in the chat. So, Leanne, many college students struggle to find work opportunities just because of lack of experience. We don't have that huge resume built out quite yet. So, can you give us some helpful hints on how to confidently share your skill set, even when you have minimal work experience?
Absolutely. Well, number one, I want to like double down on what Elena said and just kind of amplify the fact that if you ask someone if they will talk to you about their career journey, or if you arrive with your agilities and you say, so this is in my top three, but this is in my bottom three, and I need to develop it. How did you develop that in your work life or your career? People love to talk about themselves. And so I haven't ever had anybody turn me down when I said, I want to hear about your career journey. And so even having the confidence to do that is important. And the confidence of like knowing that even if you know your agilities, you're like, hey, these are ways that I already bring value into that space. So I think, that is one of the things, is knowing that about yourself. And don't be afraid to like rehearse that, right, with anybody else, with somebody else, and say, okay, do you think I'm good at this too? And what does that look like and sound like that in regards to that? So I think that is a part of this. And actually, Kate, I may have gone way off script here or thinking about that, but hopefully that helped. I was trying to, like, your question again was about, helpful hints on how to confidently share your minimal work experience. I think the other thing around the minimal work experience is you have been working. You have been working even if you have been volunteering or being a student, or in your church or a part of any kind of an organization. That's all work. You just weren't getting paid for it. So you should be able to also take those agilities and match up the actual work activities that are used to some things that you have experience with. So I would lean in to those most certainly. And the other thing that I would do is I would really encourage you to take advantage of virtual internships or micro internships. And we are going to put, I think, in the chat and in your resources, a link to our DeBruce virtual or V-Ships page, where you can learn more about how to access virtual internships or how to get ready to interview for those or to be a part of those. Those are going to continue in the future. And so I think that's another great way, is like, if you can't take 6 weeks or do that now, but you can do a micro internship or a small virtual internship while you're in school doing classes and working to just pay the rent and the tuition, right?
Right.
These ships and micro internships are a great way to build that too.
Yeah, that's a great resource. And I definitely, push you all to check that out. I know I was a part of a virtual internship this summer, and then I also have been working virtually as an intern with Community America, who's sponsoring this event. So it's definitely worth it. It's a virtual internship is not any less of an internship than something that is in person, and it's just kind of the way things are as of today. And so, kind of to segue into the virtual aspect of life, I want to talk to Lana and what part of virtual networking is often overlooked, and how do you suggest that people approach virtual networking? Do you use LinkedIn? Do you ask to set up Zoom calls? Just what's your advice there?
Well, so the answer to that question is yes, you do all of those things. I do often think that LinkedIn gets overlooked, and this is not a commercial for LinkedIn, but in terms of social media, and remember, young people are the very best at social media. You were born into social media, you know how to use it effectively, and frankly, all day long. And so if you're going to engage in one area of social media, I really do recommend LinkedIn. It is absolutely the most professionally based social media site. And I always encourage people, again, at any age, with whatever experience set, create a LinkedIn profile and to keep it up to date. It's also a wonderful way to be able to reach out to people to ask for the meeting. I did notice that we had a question in the Q&A about how do you reach out to people, even especially if you don't have a direct connection to them, you don't know anybody who knows that individual. I think LinkedIn is actually a wonderful way to do that because it sends that message directly to the individual. So I would always recommend for that. As you said, Kate, there's podcasts, different ways to engage. So Adam Grant's podcast is wonderful. There are so many great podcasts, TED Talks, etc. And so that's a great way to sort of leverage the virtual world. I also think that everybody should become an expert in how to participate in video conferencing. So whether it's Zoom, WebEx, Microsoft Teams, whichever platform is your preference, become an expert, have the proper lighting, have a great camera, make sure that you don't have a window behind you so that you're in the shadows, make sure that there's something pleasant behind you. So whether it's a virtual background like Leanna's using, or just our standard backgrounds like the rest of us are using, it's really important to have something that is not noisy, but that is either a nice conversation piece, but kind of a pleasant atmosphere. I always think that that's really, really critical. And especially in this virtual environment, you want to be seen as the expert. You don't want the negative noise. You want only the positive noise to be seen as professional and as able to use the technologies that are at your disposal.
Thank you so much for that. I think, understanding the background of our cameras is not something that a year ago we would have thought we needed to focus on. And so it's really interesting that that's something that we are, kind of evolving towards and have figured out fun ways like Leanne to navigate it. So before we jump into our Q&A, because we do have a lot of questions coming in, I just want to remind you guys that tomorrow at noon, we're going to meet with 3 recent KU grads and hear their stories about post-KU success. So remember to watch all 4 of these sessions this week, and you'll be able to receive your free LinkedIn headshot and your $10 Starbucks gift card. So I do also want to announce the winner of our 2018 NCAA Men's Basketball Final Four bench chair, donated by the DeBruce Foundation. And our winner is Drake Brookman. So congrats. Thank you for joining us live. And I'm going to jump into our Q&A, if that's okay with everyone. So first of all, I have a question for Alex, and it's how is your LinkedIn important for networking and making connections? As a student right now, how did you leverage LinkedIn?
Yeah, so I think it's kind of very similar to the way that a virtual internship works. So you can connect with people that aren't at your school that can still be a resource to you. So I'm actually the chief financial officer of our African American Male Scholars organization on our campus. And I had a buddy who was a part of the Abram Harris Foundation, which is an economic organization on Howard's campus in DC. And I was trying to, we had just created our exec board, and we're trying to really figure out, what kind of impact we could have on campus. And I'd seen an NPR article about him, and he was interviewed on it. So I got on LinkedIn and looked him up and messaged him, and we got to have a Zoom chat one night, and really got to exchange numbers. He had a twin brother who also had done a whole bunch of stuff in the business school, so we got to just get chatting and everything. And it was a really cool, just organic conversation. And we just, bounced ideas off for our organizations and everything. But that was something, like Elena was saying, that I just used LinkedIn and I just honestly just looked the guy up because I was like, hey, he seems cool. I'm just going to go for it. And I just, sent him a couple messages, and, that's that. But it's so easy to do. And I would say for anybody, I just encourage all my friends to do it too. Just don't be, afraid to just send a message, and just, introduce yourself and ask if you could just chat and connect.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. And especially as a student, it's really easy to update our personal social media accounts, but we don't always think about doing it professionally. And so making sure that you do keep up with that and you post the small things too. People are really interested in what you're doing. They want to hear, and everyone on LinkedIn is on LinkedIn for a reason. So that's also something important to note. So one last question today is, can you expand on what interns at the DeBruce Foundation do and kind of what skills you are looking for there?
So actually, a good example of what interns do are even as we thought about the giveaways for this and like how we would give them away. So again, by posting your agilities on Instagram and following DeBruce Foundation and following KU Life Skills and then tagging 3 people, that absolutely came out of Alex's mouth as a DeBruce Foundation Career Corps member and as a part of our intern. And Alex, do you want to talk about some of the other things that you've done as a part of DeBruce Career Corps and our virtual internship, even with Agile
Yeah,
XP?
I would love to. Yeah, so I had the opportunity. I forgot to say this at the beginning. I had the opportunity to intern over over this summer with the foundation, and I'd say one of the coolest things is that how much they value youth voice in all of their work. And one of the cool things we got to do is work on a new experience that builds off of the Agile work profiler called the Agile XP. And what it does is it goes into a lot of these areas like networking. It goes into, I'm sure everybody here wants to be, a hotshot executive or a business owner, and you have to learn the basics of a business before you can do that. And that not only comes out of just that really comes out of actually the founder, Mr. DeBruce, and just like him having to learn so many things, and we've gotten to talk to him. So one of the cool things about being a part of the foundation, the Career Corps, is that you're so connected with so many really cool people that are willing to mentor you. And so this summer I got to research other, organizations across the country and across the city that are dedicated to bettering people's lives and being an economic game changer, and just a lot of things. But one of the amazing things about the foundation is they want everybody to have access to their free tools to better their lives. And that's it. We want you to have a better life and to be more successful in your job, period. And I don't think there's a lot of companies and organizations and foundations that you can go to and are like, they want this, but you have to do this, but there's all this, and everything is completely free. It's integrated with youth voice. And so many of us like it. There was over 100 people that were doing the Agile XP experience this summer, and it got amazing reviews. I loved all 30 days of it. And it's kind of like going to school. Some days you might know things a little bit, but there's so many things that I didn't know. Even having an internship, thinking, I'm on top of it. I have a virtual internship. There's things I was still learning from the experience. So it was a really cool experience doing that, as well as the Agile work profiler that you guys will all get the opportunity to do, and many other things.
And one of the things that we're making available today to you all, or anybody who even watches us after the live event, is when you take the Agile work profiler, you will get the opportunity, and it's exclusive to you guys, to do the 30 days that Alex is talking about. And it really just will come to you by way of text or email, whichever one you sign up for. And you'll get just about 10 minutes every single day of exactly what Alex said, things around mindset, overcoming obstacles, networking, and again, all about creating the confidence in yourself to go forth and use your agilities in the best way and to network in the way Elena has talked about. So we hope that you can take advantage of that. It's exclusive for you all only.
Yes, I think I can attest to the fact that there's never been a resource that, has put you behind or put you back. And I feel like these are resources that people should definitely, take control of, especially now. There's always things that we can be learning and doing, especially as students. So thank you guys all for joining us today. That's all we have time for. And also, I guess, speaking on LinkedIn, make sure that you are adding us on LinkedIn. I think all of us would be willing to connect with you if that's where you're wanting to start. So thank you. I urge you to join us live again tomorrow for Life Skills KU. And this has been a great session. So thank you guys.